Hello, my name is Gloria. Today we are discussing the topic overcrowding. Objectives of lesson. As the lesson progresses, the learners should be able to 1. Define overcrowding. 2. State the meaning of carrying capacity. 3. Mention at least 5 causes of overcrowding. 4. State at least 5 effects of overcrowding. 5. Define competition. And 6. Differentiate between the two types of competition. What is overcrowding? Overcrowding is a situation whereby the number of individuals or population in a habitat is far more than the resources available to support them. Now, these resources are usually scarce or limited. Now, the limited resources may be food, mating partners, light, water, or space, depending on the need of the organisms. Overcrowding can also occur when there is an increase in the population of a particular species beyond the carrying capacity of that habitat. The meaning of carrying capacity is the total number of organisms the resources available in a given habitat can conveniently support. Beyond the carrying capacity level, yes, overcrowding sets in. Now, if you look at this image here, there is the triangle here. It shows increase in the growth of population. Now, as the population is increasing, the resources in that population should be able to take care of them. Okay? Now, it gets to a point whereby the resources will just be enough to support the increasing population, and that point is called carrying capacity point. Now, if the population continues to increase and so increases more than the resources available, then we say overcrowding has occurred. Now, if you look at the images here, the first one is showing crowd. Now, this crowd are occupying a space, but compared to the total number of individuals, this crowd, the space is too small, and so that is why they are jam-packed together. Now, let's look at the image here of the bus. Let's assume the bus is supposed to conveniently take 40 people, and here we are having 90 or 100. That already is overcrowding. Why? The number of people, they are just far too much than the space of the bus. Or looking at the last one, we have a small pool of water. Now, they have many organisms here drinking from this pool. Now, the total number of organisms drinking the water is just far too much, and that is overcrowding. So simply put, overcrowding means many individual organisms, lesser resources to support them. Okay, that is overcrowding. But in some other topics or subjects, we can call overcrowding overpopulation. So let's look at the factors that can cause overcrowding. Number 1 is natality. Natality can also be called birth rate. So increased natality, yes, that is what can lead to overcrowding. Okay, the rate at which organisms give birth, if it increases without control, it will lead to overpopulation or overcrowding. Number 2, increase in food supply or availability of food. When there is food, organisms will tend not to move out, they will be healthy, and it will increase fertility, and this can of course lead to overcrowding over time. Number 3, decrease in mortality. Mortality means death rate. Please don't say only death, and for natality don't say only death. It usually has a rate in front, so put the rate. Decrease in mortality, when organism refuses to diaper because they have good hygiene condition, they have enough food and everything is okay, and this over time can lead to overcrowding. Number 4, immigration. Immigration simply means organism coming into another habitat from a place. Okay, and when they come into a habitat, in that habitat they can increase the population of such, and that can lead to overcrowding. In countries, we call them immigrants. When immigrants come to other countries, they increase the population of that other country. Number 5, high survival rate. When organisms have high survival rate, yes, this can lead to overcrowding because they won't die easily, and so they can survive better, and this over time can also lead to overcrowding. Number 6 is lack of dispersal of fruits or seeds of plants. This is usually common in plants. Alright, now what is the meaning of dispersal of fruit? It simply means the spreading of fruits or seeds from the parent plants to other places. All right. Now, when this is not done, it will lead to overcrowding around the parent plant. Number 7, high fertility rate. If the organisms in a habitat, they have high fertility rate, meaning that they are going to be producing young ones at a faster rate, and this can lead to overcrowding. Number 8, social habits of animals such as termites, ants, and bees. Why they live in group and they live in colony, and so they can multiply easily, leading to overpopulation or overcrowding in that colony. And the last but not the least, inadequate space. When there is not enough space, yes, and population is increasing, the meaning is that the space will not increase over the time. Overcrowding will set in. So let's look at the effects of overcrowding. These include 1, food shortage. Yes, can lead to food shortage. More people, they eat more food, and over the time it leads to no food or food shortage. Number 2 here is shortage of space. Yes, when we have more people, the space they occupy will not be able to contain them if the population continues to increase. Number 3, build-up of toxic waste. Now, because of the high population rate, it's going to build up the toxic in the environment, and that simply means it's going to lead to pollution, and it's going to lead to spread of diseases because there is no space for them to move around, and so they are jam-packed together. Airborne disease can easily spread from one person to another. It can lead to competition, whereby they have to struggle for the little resources that is in their environment. It can of course lead to antisocial behavior, such as being aggressive, fighting, corruption among humans, and so on. It can of course lead to predation, whereby a stronger and more bigger organism begin to feed on the weaker and lesser in size organisms, smaller organisms. So that is predation, and of course the end of all this is that if not controlled, it can lead to death of organisms. So food shortage, shortage of space, spread of disease, all end towards death if overcrowding is not controlled. So let's look at competition itself. Now, what is the meaning of competition? This is a situation among organisms whereby they fight or struggle for the limited resources in an environment. Assuming you have a wrap of biscuit, a packet of biscuit, and you have like 50 students to feed on this biscuit, what do you think will happen? Yes, you got it. Competition will occur. The student will have to struggle and fight for this one biscuit, and the one that is stronger or probably bigger will likely get it, and so that is just the end of competition. Now we have 2 types of competition. Now, competition between organisms of the same species is known as intraspecific competition. Intraspecific competition, you can also call it interspecies competition. Now, examples of intraspecies competition is one between goats competing or struggling for the same grasses to feed on a given land, or it can be between 2 wild dogs competing over the same food, which can be a zebra, antelope, gazelle, or so. So look at the image to have understanding what I'm saying. Now, the second type of competition is called, yes, interspecific competition. It is the competition between different species, okay, of organisms. It can also be said to be interspecies competition. Now, note that interspecific competition is less intense because different species of organisms can have alternate source of food. We have different species, so they can also have other alternate food. For example, you have a tiger and a lion competing for food. Now, the tiger can decide he doesn't want to eat the gazelle again and go for zebra. So there is always an alternative or alternate nutrient for them to feed on. And so this one makes interspecific between different species to be less serious or less intense compared to intra, whereby they have to struggle for the same kind of food. They have no choice than to feed on that, and so the competition is usually very serious. Now, examples of interspecific competition is the one between tiger and lion competing for the same gazelle or zebra. It can also be between different species, like what we have here in this image, competing for the water. I want to believe that is what they are fighting over. So let's move on. So we have adaptation to avoiding overcrowding. What are the things that organisms do in order to help them to avoid overcrowding? Number 1, this is among plants, dispersal of seeds and fruits. Okay, now plants tend to spread their seeds and food to other places, either by wind, water, or even animals. Okay, and so it prevents overcrowding around the parent plants. Number 2 is swarming. Swarming here, organisms move in large number out of a colony to form another. For example, the reproductive plant, they live in group, in colonies, so sometimes they can move in large number to other places to form new colonies. So this will help to reduce overcrowding. Number 3, territorial behavior. Yes, this simply means marking or tagging a particular area as a territory, and this organism that marks it will prevent it from other intruders, prevent other intruders from coming into that marked territory, and so it will prevent overcrowding. Another one is migration. Don't forget that migration can either be immigration or emigration. Now, immigration means organism leaving one habitat into another, and the other habitat will get increased if the immigration is not controlled. And that's why most countries, they don't like other people from other countries coming into their country, because they feel it's going to increase their population. So immigration, if it is discouraged, of course, we help to avoid overcrowding. And the next one is emigration, where organisms leave a particular habitat into another. This definitely will cause we help to avoid overcrowding. Life cycle is our number 5. This ensures organisms at each stages occurs in different niche or location, and so the other ones also die naturally so that the young ones can survive. So when the other ones die, the young ones can live, and so it helps to curb overcrowding. And lastly, on my point here is production of chemicals by plants. Now, some plants can produce chemicals, okay, around them that can prevent any other plant growing around them from surviving, and therefore it's reducing overcrowding around itself. Another one, of course, that is not here is the effect of canopies among trees, okay, whereby the taller ones prevent the shorter ones from getting sunlight, and if care is not taken, this shorter one that have not having access to sunlight can die. So here we have image of dispersal of seeds in plants, and of course people leaving their habitat into another place. Okay, so let's look at the student activity already. Here we have our 10 usual questions for you to answer. At this time we'll ask you, get your pen and paper and try these questions. Now, if you are able to do all of these questions, I'm giving you a clap, but if not, don't worry, go back to the video, watch it, download it, view it again, listen to it, and at the end I believe you'll be able to attempt them all. Alright, please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new here, then view my videos, drop your comments, I'm always ready to answer them. Like my videos, and of course click the notification bell to get any new videos on my teaching. Okay, it's time for you to mark. Now start marking. Our desire is for you to have 100%, that is 10/10. Alright, so I believe that is what you have on your paper. So at this moment I want to say thank you for joining me once again in this class. Remember, I am Gloria Robin.